0830 hours, June the 13th, 1944. An unpaved farm track northwest of the French village of Villers-Bocage. The air in Normandy this morning is saturated with a heavy, almost oily humidity. It is a gray day, where the low-hanging mist blurs the contours of the landscape. In this dampened atmosphere, a mass of steel is in motion, the vanguard of the British 7th Armoured Division. One can hear the rhythmic clacking of track pins on the damp asphalt of Route Nationale 175. The smell is omnipresent, a mixture of burnt diesel, wet wool from uniforms, and the metallic aroma of lubricating grease. Major Desmond Lay, commander of A Squadron, 4th County of London. Yeomanry stabilizes himself in the turret of his Cromwell tank. He belongs to the Desert Rats, the legendary veterans of El Alamein. These men parried the tactical finesse of Erwin Rommel and chased the Wehrmacht through Libya and Tunisia. They are not amateurs. They are the operational precision instrument of General Bernard Montgomery. Their mission in this phase of Operation Perch: bypass the right wing of the German defenses at Caen, thrust into the open flank, and seal off the city from the west. Ahead of them, a gentle rise emerges from the mist, point 213. In military topography, this is no mere hill, but a dominant feature. Whoever controls point 213 controls the access to Villers-Bocage and, with it, the key to the entire sector. British intelligence reports no enemy contact. The tank crews appear almost casual in their security. Some men dismount, open hatches, and light cigarettes. Yet barely 200 meters away, deep in the shadows of an orchard, a different kind of preparation is taking place. Here there are no cigarettes, no relaxed conversations. Here, the absolute discipline of the mechanized hunt prevails. Through the scissor periscopes and the TZF-9B optics of a Tiger I, the British column is being precisely measured. The reticle rests steadily on the silhouette of the leading Cromwell. In this moment, an operational gap opens. How is it possible that the most battle-hardened armored division of the British Empire is rendered operationally irrelevant in just 15 minutes by a single weapon system? We are not analyzing the courage of individuals. We are analyzing the systemic collapse of an elite unit under the pressure of ballistic superiority. To forensically understand the disaster of Villers-Bocage, one must perceive the environment as an active combatant. Normandy in June 1944 is not a battlefield of long sightlines. It is the Bocage. This term describes a landscape that represents a logistical and tactical anomaly for armored units. Centuries-old hedgerows, grown on massive earth banks, form an inextricable network of natural barriers. These banks are often so solid that even a 30-ton tank cannot simply roll them over. The root systems and compacted clay act as natural anti-tank obstacles. The consequence is a drastic reduction in visibility. In the desert of North Africa, the desert rats could spot the enemy at a distance of 2 kilometers. Here, the horizon shrinks to the width of the next bend. British superiority in mass becomes worthless when the enemy is only seen when he opens fire at a range of 50 meters. This is hedgerow hell. In this terrain, radio communication is often disrupted as the massive banks swallow the waves. Units operate in tactical silos, isolated from each other by green walls. While the British 7th Armoured Division stands in a long, vulnerable snake on the narrow road, the heavy SS Panzer Battalion 101 is operating on the opposite side. Their weapon, the Panzer-Kampfwagen 6, better known as the Tiger. With 100 millimeters of frontal armor and the legendary 8.8 centimeter KWK-36, this tank is constructed not for mobile warfare, but for industrial destruction from a defensive position. The optics, a TZF-9B binocular turret sight, allow for 2.5 times magnification. At ranges under 500 meters, the probability of a hit is nearly absolute. The German battalion has completed a forced march. Under constant threat from Allied fighter bombers, the so-called Jabos, they moved only at night. Engines overheated, tracks broke. The mechanical reliability of the Tigers was at its limit. The Maybach HL 230 P45 engine, a 12-cylinder gasoline engine, consumed enormous amounts of fuel under these conditions and required constant maintenance. Yet on the morning of June 13th, 5 of these machines stand ready for action. They are a systemic anomaly. British command did not expect them here. It was assumed that heavy German armored formations would take days to move to the front. It was an intelligence failure of the highest order. The desert rats drove into a trap whose walls consisted of steel and hedges. 0905 hours, the silence does not just break, it shatters. A Tiger I, commanded by Michael Wittmann, sets itself in motion. In this forensic analysis, we strip away the term heroism and replace it with efficient target engagement. Wittmann recognizes the fatal formation of the British column. The tanks are standing bumper to bumper. The first shot from the 8.8 centimeter gun strikes an armored personnel carrier at the front. The force of the impact is so massive that the vehicle literally explodes. The chemical muzzle flash of the Tiger is, for a split second, brighter than daylight. Almost simultaneously, the turret swings to the rear. The Tiger targets the last vehicle in the column, another Cromwell. A hit, a direct hit. In less than 60 seconds, the British vanguard is trapped in a ballistic mousetrap. A burning wreck in front, a burning wreck behind. Route Nationale. 175 is blocked. There is no escape. What follows is a demonstration of Tiger phobia. In the British radios, chaos erupts. Tiger! Tiger on the road! This call acts like a virus in the unit's operating system. The Tiger now drives parallel to the column across the grass verge. It fires at point-blank range. Barely 20 meters separate the barrel from the thinly armored sides of the British vehicles. The ballistic data shows the hopelessness. The PZGR-39 shell of the Tiger weighs 10.2 kilograms and leaves the barrel at a muzzle velocity of 773 meters per second. It penetrates the 64 millimeters of side armor of a Cromwell-like paper. Inside the British tanks, these hits lead to spalling effects. Glowing metal shards break off the inner wall and turn the fighting compartment into a deadly cloud of shrapnel. Ammunition stows ignite. We see in the footage of the time how the turrets of the tanks are hurled meters into the air by the force of internal explosions. This is not a battle, it is a dismantling. Wittmann continues into the village of Villers-Bocage. Here, the dynamics change. The Tiger is technically vulnerable in urban combat, but the surprise is so absolute that the British infantry does not bring their PIAT anti-tank weapons into position in time. The Tiger rolls across the main square, destroying a Sherman Firefly and several light scout vehicles. The sensory hardness of this moment is extreme. The ground shakes under the 57 tons of steel. The brick walls of the French houses crumble like dry biscuits when the rear of the Tiger grazes them. The smell of burning rubber and scorched flesh hangs heavy in the village street. In just 15 minutes, a single tank has turned the pride of the 7th Armoured Division into a smoking graveyard. 27 British vehicles are destroyed, while the Tiger remains mechanically sound. Why did the British not strike back? Theoretically, the Desert Rats possessed the Sherman Firefly, equipped with the 17-pounder gun. This weapon was the only Allied answer to the Tiger, capable of penetrating the 100mm front plate at over 1,000 meters. But in the confinement of Villers-Bocage, communication between the tanks was severed. The radios were optimized for the wide desert, not for shielding by stone walls and dense banks of the Bocage. Brigadier Hind, who was to lead Operation Perch on the ground, was in a state of informal paralysis. The reports reaching his headquarters were apocalyptic. From one Tiger, the reports of panicked soldiers quickly turned into 15 heavy tanks. This is the birth of operational paralysis. It is called the freezing syndrome. Instead of gathering the mass of his remaining tanks and neutralizing the damaged Tiger in the village with infantry, Hindy ordered a retreat. He surrendered the initiative. The chance to split the German front was lost in this moment. The friction in the British command system was greater than the destructive power of the German guns. While the British hesitated, the Panzer-Reserve Division to the south stabilized its position. German grenadiers filtered into the village and secured the ruins. Wittmann's Tiger was finally stopped by a British 6-pounder anti-tank gun hidden in a side street. A track broke through a direct hit to the drive sprocket. Wittmann and his crew bailed out and made their way back to their own lines on foot. Forensically, the loss of the Tiger was a small price for the Wehrmacht for what they had gained: time. Montgomery's entire timetable for the conquest of Normandy was based on speed. Villers-Bocage drained the momentum from this plan. The 7th Armoured Division was psychologically broken. The myth of their invincibility lay buried in the ruins of Rue Pasteur. The result of June 13, 1944, is a strategic turning point. Operation Perch will go down in history as a failure. Caen remains a German fortress. The price for British operational lethargy will be paid in blood in the coming weeks. Every hour of delay allowed the Wehrmacht to throw more reserves, including the 12th SS Panzer Division Hitlerjugend, into the sector. We see the consequence. Tiger phobia spreads like wildfire. Every Panzer IV is now reported as a Tiger. Every attack is conducted with extreme caution, allowing German defenders to compensate for their numerical inferiority through tactical aggressiveness. The 7th Armored Division lost 14 tanks, 9 armored cars, and 28 other vehicles. But far more serious is the loss of initiative. The morale of the Desert Rats, which seemed unshakable in Africa, suffered a crack that remained felt until the end of the campaign. The gap in the German front is closed. The phase of rapid advance ends here, in this French village. What follows is erosion, a war of attrition in the hedgerows, where meters are no longer measured in kilometers, but in casualties. Operation Perch is dead, but the crisis for the Allies is just beginning. The front freezes. As the burning wrecks in Villers-Bocage still smolder, new clouds are gathering to the south. British leadership is already planning the next massive thrust to break the stalemate. The next objective is the Odon River. The operation is named Epsom. We will see how the 15th Scottish Division attempts to break through a wall of steel and fire, and how they fall into an even deeper purgatory than the Desert Rats. The war in Normandy has lost its innocence. At Villers-Bocage, the Tiger showed that mass alone is not enough to topple a system determined to fight to the last bullet. The trap is set. The battle for Caen enters its darkest phase.